Guess what you're about to learn about? I dare you. You'll never, ever figure it out. Supply, you're a genius. Supply is the amount of product that would be offered for sale at all possible prices, etc. A friendlier way of saying that is that supply is the amount of product that the producer has on hand to sell. Think straight out of the factory. The producer has all the product and can sell it at any store at any price. Supply is something that is controlled by the supplier/producers and is the power of the producer in the market. Quantity supplied is the amount a supplier is willing and able to supply. Think now that the supplier has sold some of the items to stores but only gave each store a certain amount of product to be sold. Here, when it says law of supply, it's mostly talking about suppliers. This is the supplier's power. You may have never thought of a store this way, but this is exactly how it is. Suppliers will do this on purpose for two reasons: monies and availability. They want the largest profit possible, so it makes sense to do this. If you have high-priced items multiplied by a larger amount of the item, you get a nice large amount of money. If you have lower-priced items multiplied by a smaller amount of them, you get a small amount. Suppliers want maximum monies, so they follow these rules. A visual will be a Walmart grocery store aisle. You're looking at the shelves, and what do you see? Lots and lots of name-brand higher-priced items at eye level where you see them first, but very few generic or low-brand products. And they're lower level, so you don't see them first. Many times, the lower-priced items are gone, or a few remain. This is how availability relates. Suppliers know if they supply less of the lower-priced items, they will eventually run out of them. With the higher-priced items being in increased supply, there will be more than likely to be some of the higher-priced items remaining. This forces the customer to purchase the higher-priced item once the lower-priced items have run out. The law of supply also works to attract more people to the market. When price and quantity is up, potential businesses look and see large profits, and they want to join in on the profit-making fun too. When price goes down, there is not as much profit. The company does not have as much money to pay for costs, and supply decreases. Some businesses leave the market to look for better pastures. Others are discouraged from entering the market. A supply schedule is a chart of how many products the supplier will supply at different prices. This schedule shows the relationship between price and quantity. As you notice, as one side increases, the other increases too. This means that price and quantity have a direct relationship. One directly and similarly affects the other. If one goes up, the other goes up. If one goes down, the other goes down. This one happens to be for pizza. Sorry if you're hungry, that picture looks good, I'm sure. Notice how the higher in price you go, the more there is supplied. The law of supply works everywhere, even in pizza shops. This is the graph version of the supply schedule. This visually shows the direct relationship. Notice how it's a straight line that just keeps on going up. Law of supply is at work yet again. Look at how at the highest price it's the largest quantity, and at the very top of the line. If you have trouble remembering the law of supply, remember the chart. It will help you remember the relationship between low price and low supply, the bottom of the line, and high price and high supply, the top of the line. Remember how the supply curve relates uber closely to the law of supply? Here's how it relates. When the supply curve goes left, what happens to the numbers? The line goes backwards to the left, obviously. The tip is on a lower number than before. Supply is thus down. Think of a line on a graph going from the original 4-point to the 3-point. When the supply curve moves right, the numbers go higher and the supply is up. If you have trouble remembering, look at the way the line leans. The down part of the line is on the left side, so if the curve moves left, supply is down, like that side of the line. This right side is the higher side, so if the supply curve moves right, supply will go up. Supply isn't a concrete thing that is immune to things. Many parts of the economy affect supply greatly. Price, for example, affects the amount of product on shelves, but doesn't affect how much the company makes. For example, if the price of iPods in the store increases or decreases, it won't affect how many are produced by Apple. It will affect how many they put on shelves, though. Price also does not affect the supply schedule. Again, the economy affects supply a lot. Here are just a few of the many things that will change supply. Cost of inputs, cost of factors of production, productivity, taxes and regulations, and number of sellers in the market. Factors of production have a huge effect on supply. The factors of production are the things suppliers buy to create their product. If the factors of production cost a lot of money, suppliers will create less product to save money. For example, you want to make a pretty iPod Nano. You need metal technology and labor to make it. When the factors of production are cheap, you can make a lot of them, because you're able to create them cheaply with the most profit, and supply is up. However, if the factors increase in price, you cannot make the same amount as cheaply, so you decrease your production. Supply is down. Productivity is how fast the work to create the product is accomplished. When productivity is up, supply increases because the faster the product is made, the more time there is to create more of the product. But when you spend all your time making a few products, low productivity, you don't have as much time to make others, and supply is down. Technology has a huge effect on supply, especially in today's world. When technology is made, it's an advance over the past and either fixes problems or solves problems. For example, mass production. Before mass production came about, everything was done by hand. It was slow work and supply was limited. When they started to mass produce everything with machines, supply increased exponentially and solved the problem of one at a time. It was a very big advance and saved time and money. Taxes and regulations also affect supply. We have to think who makes the products in the first place: companies. When companies are taxed, the costs are higher, and there is a decrease in supply because it costs more to produce the product. The same with regulations, which also increase costs most times, and supply is decreased also. Then, the opposite happens if taxes and regulations are looser, leading to the ability to cheaply make a product, meaning increased supply. This one is pretty simple. It's like multiplication. When you have a large amount multiplied by another large amount, the result is larger. The opposite with smaller numbers. Supply basically increases when more sellers sell their product, and the opposite with fewer sellers. Think supermarkets. If both Walmart and Target sell iPods, there is a larger supply of them because there's two places selling them. If only Walmart sold iPods, the supply would be smaller. This is how quantity supplied reacts to a price change. If, when the price changes a bit, the output or supply increases or changes, the supply is elastic. If, when the price changes a bit and the supply doesn't increase, the supply is inelastic. It basically shows how the quantity reacts. It's elastic if supply increases in reaction to price. It is inelastic if it does not react. The end! Yay for supply!